What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hawks Nest episode 7, where we're talking about the Week 5 matchup versus Michigan State, which is this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at Kinnick Stadium. Iowa is an 11.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 36.5. All right, so last week, Penn State game, not going to go too deep into it because it was really embarrassing to watch. Iowa's offense was non existent. They had 76 total yards offensively. And because they weren't able to do anything, Iowa's defense became extremely gassed in the second quarter, um, giving up 21 points. The time of possession was Iowa 14 minutes, Penn State 46. So that right there shows you that Iowa's defense was on the field almost the entire game. So the biggest questions heading into this matchup versus the Spartans, it really narrows down to one. And that question is, what is the offense? Um, as fans, we're tired of the 1980s style football where it's 12 personnel and just run it up the gut on first and second down and then try some play action 10-yard pass just to punt. Kirk's been doing this for however long he's been at Iowa, 23, 24 years. And as fans, we're just tired of it. It's become so predictable that I've gone to games and on certain first or second downs, they'll be like, oh, this is a draw to the left. Oh, here's a screen. It's so predictable that the fans can tell you what's happening. Second part of that is, why is Brian Ferentz and George Barnett still on the staff? If it was any other coaching staff in the nation, they would have been let go weeks ago. This whole contract with the points per game for Brian has turned Iowa into a laughing stock across the nation, as it should be, because their offense is horrendous. Iowa's offense ranks 129th out of 130th 30 teams, and the team is 104th in the nation in rushing. Cade is 117th in the nation passing with barely over 450 yards. I think he has 457 and 4 touchdowns with 3 picks. Not what we thought we were getting when we brought him in. Honestly, as a fan, I believe that Kirk should have pulled the whole Lane Kiffin thing and left his son at the airport in Pennsylvania. And as for George Barnett, over the last 3 years that he's been there, you've seen Iowa's offensive line steadily go down in production. Iowa used to be known as a pipeline to the NFL for offensive linemen because that's what Kirk Ferentz hung his hat on back in the day. But I think under Barnett, we've only had one player drafted significantly high, and that was Tyler Linderbaum. And Barnett schemes may have fit for the line at his smaller schools, and I'm not trying to knock him there, but it just hasn't clicked Big Ten wise, and the offense is getting exposed. And offensively, I've said this almost every single week: is where are the Iowa wide receivers? Iowa wide receivers only have 14 receptions through the first 4 games, and that's only 3 players. It's uh, Anderson, Ragaini, and Vines are the only wide receivers to catch passes. Caleb Brown hasn't been anywhere. Alec Wick hasn't been anywhere. So I'd really love to see them do something, honestly. So the matchups to watch this week, it's going to come down to first Iowa's O line versus the Spartans front seven. Iowa's offensive line, as I've been saying, hasn't been good. They gave up 3 sacks against Penn State and 5 tackles for loss. Um, and the Spartans are a blitz heavy team. They love to put pressure on the line. And that turned into 9 sacks on the season so far. And if Iowa wants to move the ball, they're going to have to be able to pick up some of these blitzes, or it's going to just be another showcase of 76 total offensive yards. The second matchup is Iowa's DBs versus the Spartans wide receivers. Michigan State has 4 wide receivers with 150 plus yards, and they have a fifth that is about to crack 100 yards. on the season. They have compliments for every wide receiver. They have two that can burn you deep and go up and moss you, but then they also have 2 to 3 who are shifty, aren't afraid to run over the middle, and can make plays that way. Uh, and with Harris and Lee struggling at cornerback 2 this season, it could be a long day for Iowa secondary. So third is Iowa's front 7 versus the run game. Michigan State team, they're known for loving the ball or love running the ball. They average close to 30 rushes a game. Their main back is Nathan Carter. He has 73 carries for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns, which means he's averaging almost 5 yards, or I'm sorry, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, which that's ridiculous. And while he hasn't shown it much this season, quarterback Noah Kim is also athletic enough to hit you on the boots or the read options. And he's got some sneaky speed for you. So some Michigan State players to look out for. Like I said, Noah Kim. He's a junior quarterback. He played sparingly last season, but performed well enough that for then starter Peyton Thorne to see the writing on the wall, and he transferred out. This season, he's put up pretty decent numbers, but he's struggling with his consistency. He has 900 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on about 57% completion rate. If Iowa's offense can move the ball, I believe it'll give Iowa's defense enough energy to be able to capitalize because he likes to make big plays down the field, but doesn't always trust his arm at the same time. So Iowa could actually finally get some interceptions. The second player is Christian Fitzpatrick. He is a junior wide receiver. He is a big body wide receiver. He's 6'4", 220. They almost moved him into tight end this year, but decided to keep him on the outside. He's really having a breakout season for them. He's averaging 23.7 yards per reception. And as their number 2 wide receiver, this would mean that Harris or Lee would cover them, and they're actually smaller corners. So that matchup right there kind of worries me automatically, but also the fact that he is extremely athletic. He has the speed to burn them as well. Number 3 is Malik Spencer. He is a sophomore DB, and he leads the team in tackles. He just has a nose for the football. You'll see him everywhere. Over the last 3 games, he has 25 tackles alone. But my one knock against him is he likes to try to make plays even when they're not there. So he tries to jump routes, tries to read routes that aren't there. So Iowa may actually finally be able to hit a wide receiver for a catch and some yards. And the last player is Aaron Brule. He's a senior linebacker. He's a 5-year starter, splitting his time between Michigan State and Mississippi State. He has a high IQ for football, and he's led the Spartans in sack with 2, but he is more known for being a run game disruptor, which Iowa likes to try to do. They like to control the game with their run game, and if they can't stop him, I don't think the run game will be existent. But finally, my prediction for the game, and I kind of went back and forth on this because Michigan State does have some wins, even though they were blown out last week by Maryland. And Iowa, from here on out, does play one of the easier schedules, Big Ten-wise. So with this, I went with Iowa 24, Michigan State 17. I think it'll be back and forth defensively the entire game. 1 or 2 big plays, I think, will put Iowa ahead. And with that being said, I appreciate you all for watching, and to follow the CFB Nation for more information regarding your Hawkeyes and all your college football news. And as always, go Hawks.